Heat rising. Super Typhoon UAN, internationally known as Fung-Wong, slammed into the Philippines with overwhelming force. Savage winds, endless sheets of rain, and violent storm surges ripped through large parts of Luzon, leaving chaos and fear in their wake. The monster storm intensified rapidly over the scorching waters of the Pacific before making landfall. Within hours, it had exploded in power, reaching wind speeds over 185 kilometers per hour. Its eyes sharply defined. Clear warning that a catastrophic landfall was imminent. Authorities raised the highest storm alerts across the country. Massive flooding, storm surges towering above 3 meters, and life-threatening landslides drove urgent evacuation orders along the coast and in vulnerable low-lying areas. More than 1 million residents were forced to flee their homes. Families crowded into schools, churches, and community shelters while soldiers and rescue teams worked nonstop, clearing roads, transporting stranded people, and fighting against the storm's fury. In several provinces, the situation quickly turned disastrous. Relentless rainfall submerged entire communities, cut off towns, and destroyed crops. Destroyed crops. Residents climbed onto rooftops as floodwaters poured into their homes. Rivers overflowed violently, swallowing streets and fields. Mass power outages spread across Luzon and Bicol as power lines snapped like twigs. Across Luzon and Bicol as power lines snapped like twigs under the typhoon's strength. Communication systems collapsed. Hospitals relied on emergency generators to treat the waves of injured and displaced families. Air and sea travel came to a complete halt. Hundreds of flights were canceled, ferries were grounded, and thousands of passengers were stranded in terminals and ports, helpless as the storm raged. Meteorologists warned that UAN was massive. Its circulation stretched nearly 1,400 kilometers, affecting areas far beyond the landfall zone. Northern Luzon and even parts of the Visayas were pounded by strong winds and unending rain from the storm's outer bands. Coastal villages in Baikal and Quezon faced terrifying scenes as enormous waves destroyed homes and fishing boats. Residents reported walls of water as tall as coconut trees smashing against the shore and breaking through seawalls designed to protect their towns. Defense forces, police units, and volunteers mobilized nationwide. Work and classes were suspended, emergency hotlines overflowed with calls for help, and rescue operations continued despite the dangerous conditions. When night fell, the storm grew even more violent. Trees crashed onto homes, roofs were torn away, and streets became rivers. Entire neighborhoods vanished beneath murky floodwaters and debris. Foreign embassies, including the US and Japan, issued urgent advisories, urging their citizens to follow evacuation orders. International aid groups prepared relief packages, anticipating large-scale humanitarian needs once the storm passed.
Putang ina. Naabot na guys. Naabot yung mga motor oh. Hala, yan na. Putang ina. Biglang umabot. Tangin motor oh, tumamba. Paano ka ba dadaan ngayon? Matungalo na to.
The Philippine Coast Guard played a critical role in evacuating coastal residents. Videos showed trucks overflowing with families, children, elderly, and the ill, rushing towards safer ground as winds howled around them. Many local officials compared UAN to the most destructive storms in history. Communities still recovering from Typhoon Kalmegi were once again fighting to protect their homes, farms, and livelihoods from another brutal disaster. Initial reports confirmed at least one death, a woman killed while attempting to evacuate, and several others injured by flying debris. Authorities warned the toll could rise as search and rescue teams pushed deeper into the affected areas. Heat rising, and the storm keeps rising with it.
Wow! Oh my god! I gotta get the hell out of here.